individuals who now rule the roost in Kenya are carryovers from the Moi administration. What did they know best? They knew that you go to a marketplace and you say that you are going to empower people. They knew that you summon people. Nowadays we have governors' residences and the status. You summon them and give them something called development. That is all they know. The Kibaki interruption was too short to have a permanent effect.
Right.
And look at the individual. The administration of President Kenyatta was simply a reload in many ways of the Moi administration. And of course, my good friend William Ruto was the prime mover in Youth for KANU 1992. That is where he was born and bred. And for that reason, the only thing that he knows is to run government by fiat. And fidelity to the Constitution. The Constitution is actually a hindrance, an irritant, which must be avoided at all costs. And if you are to respect it, it's just a salutary gesture to it.
Oh my God!
I may not be your best, and I don't claim to be, but I'm the one you have.
I feel like you have much more to offer as far as, do I say politics or otherwise is concerned? And I hope one day, one time, because I know you did try getting into politics, but then again, ukaamua ku step back. I hope one day, one time, you will mentor the next generation of amazing politicians. Yeah?
You know, Socrates says that all of us are political animals. And we are mentoring them. And that also calls into question, what is politics? So in this country and in Africa, we think politics is the nonsense that goes around at funerals.
Yes.
Politics is the organization of human affairs for the improvement of their being.
Yeah.
Until the day we understand politics properly, we'll always confuse it for the nonsense at funerals.
Right. Yeah, and he has called it rightly so, nonsense, eh?
That's what it is, without giving it a Christian name.
I want us to focus on democracy this morning. And according to you, I think the Constitution of 2010 was one of the biggest gifts that Kenya got. I don't know, perhaps you might have a different opinion. It was supposed to deliver democracy in a way that Kenyans had never experienced before. But I kind of feel like that's not happening anymore. What's your opinion as far as that is concerned?
You know, Mbuvi and City, my own view is that we missed the essence. I was there when we were doing the Constitution. I was there when we collected the views of the people of Kenya. I was there when we came up with the Boma's draft. And I remember one politician whom I'll not name because he's dead. When we had gotten to 2002 in the Kibaki administration, he told us publicly, we never needed a constitution. What we needed was power. And I remember a politician who is the most active opposition politician saying that a constitution can never be given to a country unless there is bloodshed. And as if he was a prophet, it took the ethnic clashes of 2007, 2008, and Kofi Annan and the UN and the external world for us to have a constitution in 2010. A very watered-down constitution. If you look at the architecture of that constitution, which is liberal democracy, we got certain things wrong. And the politicians who are now given the task of midwifing that constitution on behalf of the people, many of them do not believe in that constitution. They do not believe in the presidential system that we have. They do not believe in human rights. They do not believe in devolution. And that is why you now see in Kenya the attempt to operate outside of the constitution, a la BBI, a la NADCO, or to constitutionalize the unconstitutional and to legalize the illegal. Because they can't operate within the constitution. They want to rule by fiat. And the people are also to be blamed because our civic awareness as a people is dominated by primordial ethnic instincts. So we respond to a low voltage ethnic warlord. If you are Gikoyo, if you are Kisi, if you are Luhya, if you are any other community, Kamba, that is what we do. Until the day that we realize that democracy is a limited government, and I seldom use the word democracy now because it's been so bastardized that I prefer to talk about good governance. So on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of the fidelity to the Constitution and fidelity to good governance, our country is at 3, meaning that 1 is the very worst and 10 is the best.
Professor, you've said our civic awareness is wanting. Perhaps let's expound a little bit on that. Because we always say that the power belongs to the people, and the people are the ones who will decide the government and so on and so forth. But now you're telling us that we are not, from what I understand, it's like we are not mature enough to even perform those duties as far as our responsibility in making decisions are concerned.
It is not about immaturity. It is hypocrisy. It is selfishness. It is short-sightedness. And it is corruption. These are the evils that reside in the hearts and minds of the average Kenyan voter. That is why they respond to the stimuli of 200 shillings. That is why they respond to the stimuli of ethnicity. And because we have not liberated ourselves and become citizens, I think it is the Greeks who categorize the population into 3. There are those who are tribalists, who think that it's only when men and women from their tribe preside over state instruments that they are safe. Then there are idiots who just don't care about how countries are run. And then there are citizens, people who love the country and think intergenerationally. Unfortunately, they are few and far between. I'm in a number of forums in WhatsApp where I remain silent like Jesus Christ, we say, on the wall. And do you listen to people who have gone to school? Professors. It has nothing to do with formal education.
Right.
It has everything to do with a reawakening. And I think that is the Kenyan problem. Look at the debate that you see. Look at our people when they are at funerals. Somebody is lying dead and somebody is talking about elections. Somebody is lying dead, ought to be respected, and they are talking about the economy. Somebody is lying dead and ought to be sent off, and they are talking about empowerment of the youth. That is how low we have sunk as a people. And until the day we consciously take charge and tell these individuals who I'm reluctant to call leaders that they are on the wrong track. And remember that many of these individuals who now rule the roost in Kenya are carryovers from the Moi administration. What did they know best? They knew that you go to a marketplace and you say that you are going to empower people. They knew that you summon people. Nowadays we have governors' residences and the status. You summon them and give them something called development. That is all they know. The Kibaki interruption was too short to have a permanent effect.
Right.
And look at the individual. The administration of President Kenyatta was simply a reload in many ways of the Moi administration. And of course, my good friend William Ruto was the prime mover in Youth for KANU 1992. That is where he was born and bred. And for that reason, the only thing that he knows is to run government by fiat. And fidelity to the Constitution. The Constitution is actually a hindrance, an irritant, which must be avoided at all costs. And if you are to respect it, it's just a salutary gesture to it. It is sad. It is painful. And we don't appear to feel the pain. We have been here. And this country is progressively, because of our lack of fidelity to good governance, losing our leadership role in Africa. Look at the bangles we make. diplomatically. Otherwise, if it is not Sudan, if it is Congo, if it is not Congo, it is Israel. If it is not Israel, we Sahrawi. We are making blunder after blunder.
So if we're being honest, this is the kind of leaders that we need in our country. But people will never vote for him because people are not ethical and people are not yet ready for such a guy. That's why I still feel like Maraga won't be voted in because people are not ready for such a leader. So it must get worse to a level that we can't retrieve ourselves for us to dig ourselves or climb up. Because we keep on digging the grave, but the grave is not deep enough. That's why we can't elect Maraga. That's why people can't elect people like PLO. PLO vied and he lost to a guy that bribed people with maybe 100 or 50 shillings. Same way, someone else might lose to Ruto giving people 200 shillings and Kindiki giving people 50 or 64 shillings. So that's the culture we have, where you get paid someone pays you, then it goes and steals from you. So that's the culture we've created, that you have to be paid to vote for the wrong guy. And it's something that will destroy us for a very, very long time. And I think for the older generation, they're the most messed up because they didn't progress. They are the easiest to buy, especially the boomers. And I always feel like if such a guy will have gotten point of leadership like a president, vice president, or even a minister, he will have performed extraordinarily. Though he was given EACC for a brief period of time, he tried his best, but even there, politicians did what they do best. They compromised him and they messed his job up. So since then, I don't think he has ever been interested in vying for any political seat because he knows our politics is cutthroat and it's very, very evil.